Hello, warrior. Do you hear it? The world whispering your name in dark corners, waiting for the day you stumble. They've placed a price on you, a number dripping with greed and fear. They think gold can break you, buy you, erase the fire in your eyes. Huh. They have no idea. They don't know the nights you've endured, the storms you've walked through with nothing but willpower. They don't know the weight of your scars, or the silence you've turned into strength. And now, they've sent the best to end you. The ghost in the shadows, the one who never fails. But here's the twist. He saw you and he laughed. They offered millions for your head. And the city whispered in fear. The air itself seemed to lean closer, to hear if your breath would falter. Shadows clung tighter to the alleys, as if they knew danger had finally found a name. Every eye turned cold. Every handshake hid a blade behind it. And somewhere out there, a man was given the contract. A man who could end you without leaving a sound. They called him the perfect ghost, the invisible storm, the last sight you'd ever see before the dark took you. And yet, when they placed the bounty on the table, when they spoke your name like a death sentence, he laughed. Not a nervous laugh, not a laugh of pity, a laugh like steel cracking under heat, a laugh that made the room itself pull back, because he saw something they didn't. He saw that you weren't prey, you weren't weak, you weren't the trembling soul they had painted you to be. He saw the fire under your scars, the spine carved from storms, the eyes that had looked into ruin and refused to blink. They thought money could buy the end of you. But money has no value against someone who refuses to die. They thought fear would choke your voice. But fear has no grip on a throat that has screamed through nights of endless hunger and still found the strength to speak. You've been buried before, under doubt, under betrayal, under the crushing weight of those who swore they'd help you, then vanished when the ground shook. And yet, you dug yourself out, with nothing but bleeding hands and the will to see another sunrise. You've been hunted before, not by men with weapons, but by silence, by failure, by the shadows of your own mind. And each time, you turned the hunt around. You became the nightmare in their story, the quiet step they never heard until it was too late. So when the hitman looked at you, when he heard the price for your head, he didn't see a victim. He saw a reflection of himself. A creature shaped by the unforgiving hands of time, sharpened by battles that had no audience, crowned by victories no one clapped for. He saw the kind of person you can't touch with coins or promises, because you've already been to places where gold means nothing, where the only currency is survival, and you've paid in full. And maybe deep down, he respected you, not the kind of respect they print on medals, but the respect of one predator to another. The unspoken agreement that says, I know what you are, I know what you've done, and I won't be the one to try to stop you. So he walked away, and the world stared. They didn't understand. They thought power was in the number on the check, But the hitman knew power is in the one who writes their own ending. Power is in walking through storms without bending your back. Power is in rising from the grave they dug for you, still breathing, still dangerous. And here's the truth they will never say out loud. They feared you before they offered the bounty. The money was just an excuse, a way to see who would be foolish enough to try. Because you've become a lesson wrapped in skin. You are proof that breaking someone doesn't mean they stay broken. That a soul once forged in fire doesn't burn the same as others. You carry storms in your chest, and they don't want to be anywhere near when the clouds open. So listen to me now. Do not let the quiet days fool you. Do not let the smiles of strangers convince you the hunt is over. The game never ends for people like us. We don't get the luxury of safety. We don't get to rest on what we've survived. Every day is another test. Another set of eyes watching. Another shadow waiting to see if we fall. But here's what they still don't understand. We don't fall the same way twice. We don't break the same way again. The things that shattered us once will only cut the hands of those who try to use them now. You didn't survive to beg for mercy. You didn't crawl out of the pit just to kneel again. Every scar on your skin is a warning sign to anyone who thinks they can finish you. Every line on your face is a map of battles. They wouldn't last 5 minutes in. And when the next storm comes, because it will, you'll stand again. Not because it's easy, but because you've learned that the world only respects those who refuse to stay down. They wanted you gone. They still do. But here you are, breathing in the air they swore you'd never taste again. And every breath is a victory. Every step is a quiet rebellion. Every day you wake up is another failed attempt to erase you. Let them watch. Let them whisper. Let them offer more gold, higher numbers, more promises to those willing to try. Because it doesn't matter how much they put on the table. It doesn't matter how skilled the next one is. The truth has already been written in the way the hitman looked at you, in the way he walked away. You are not worth the price of destruction they placed on you. You are worth far more. You are the storm they can't cage. You are the darkness they can't predict. You are the laugh in the silence when they realize they've lost again. And when the next one comes, when the world sends another to try to take you down, they will see it too. They will see that some things cannot be bought. Some spirits cannot be killed. And some names are carved so deep into the stone of time that no bullet, no blade, no price can ever erase them. They whispered your name like a warning. A curse passed through trembling lips. Streets you once walked now carried the echo of footsteps that weren't yours. Windows closed when you passed. Doors locked before your shadow could reach them. And somewhere in the smoke-filled corners of the city, men counted the gold for your head. They dressed their greed as justice, their fear as courage, their lies as honor. But in truth, they wanted to erase you because they couldn't own you. because you refused to bow, because you walked into rooms that wanted your silence and spoke anyway. And then the man arrived, the one who was supposed to end the story, a phantom built from patience and precision, a silhouette that could vanish between blinks. His reputation was not written in ink, but in the absence of his enemies. He had taken names from the earth like pulling weeds from dry soil, clean, final, without mercy. They gave him your name. They gave him the price. They told him to bring back proof you would never see another dawn. And yet, when his eyes met the weight of your history, he paused, not because he doubted his skill, but because he recognized something rare. He saw the way you stood, not proud, but unshaken. The way your eyes didn't dart around the room, but burned straight through his like a blade pressed to glass. He read the unspoken language in your scars, the one that says, "I've been through worse than you and I'm still here." He realized the bounty wasn't on a body, it was on a force of nature. And you don't collect storms in bags of gold. You don't leash a wildfire because someone pays you to. So he laughed. A quiet laugh at first, the kind that slips out when you've been reminded of something you thought you'd forgotten. Then louder. A laugh that broke the tension like lightning splits the night. A laugh that told everyone in the room, this will not happen. Not today. Not with me. And when he walked away, they called him a coward. But deep down, they knew the truth. He wasn't afraid of you. He respected you. Because only those who have walked in darkness without losing themselves can recognize the sane in another. He had been the hunter long enough to know there is no glory in taking down someone who has already faced worse than you could ever be. He had been the storm long enough to understand some winds can't be tamed. And when his footsteps faded into the night, you stood alone again. But it was a different kind of alone. The kind that hums with power. The kind that makes the world lean in, unsure whether to run from you or follow you. You had survived the price on your head, not by hiding, but by standing in plain sight and daring the danger to come closer. And that's the thing about people like you. You don't survive by chance. You survive because every cell in your body refuses to obey the word. Do you remember the nights when you couldn't see a way forward? When the walls pressed in so close you could feel your own heartbeat in your teeth? When silence was heavy enough to drown you? You pushed through. You clawed your way back. You built a spine out of nights that should have broken you. And now, that strength is what makes people hesitate. That strength is why even a man paid millions chose not to cross you. They don't understand the cost. They see the victories, but not the price you paid for them. They see the steel in your voice, but not the nights you shook until dawn. They see the confidence in your walk, but not the times you stumbled in the dark with no one to catch you. And maybe that's exactly how it should be. Because your story isn't for their comfort. Your story is for those who think they can't make it. For those standing in the middle of their own storm, convinced they're alone, when in truth, they are becoming something unstoppable. You didn't get here by luck. You didn't get here because the world gave you a seat at the table. You carved your seat out of the stone they tried to bury you under. You sharpened yourself on the edges of rejection. You stood up so many times the ground beneath you learned your weight. And now, When they see you, they see more than a person. They see the embodiment of defiance. They see what happens when you try to crush someone, and instead they grow teeth. So when they tell the story of the bounty, when they whisper about the man who could have ended you but chose not to, let them tell it with fear. Let them tell it with awe. Let them tell it in the kind of voice people use when speaking of storms that almost destroyed the city, but didn't. Because the truth is, you've already faced worse than gold. You've faced doubt. You've faced betrayal. You've faced the kind of loneliness that eats through bone, and you've walked out of it alive. The bounty will fade. The whispers will fade. But your name will stay carved into the walls of every place you've walked. Not because they loved you, not because they understood you, but because they could not break you. And that is the kind of immortality no amount of gold can buy. They thought the price would tempt anyone, that the scent of gold would draw the vultures from every shadow. They imagined you would hear the whispers, feel the footsteps closing in, and break. They believed the fear would seep into your bones, slow your steps, steal your sleep. But fear is a language you no longer speak. You've heard its voice too many times before, and each time you've answered with silence and forward motion. So when they announced the bounty, when they turned your existence into a currency, they didn't understand what they had unleashed. The man they called the best arrived without ceremony. No fanfare, no echoing threats, just a presence that bent the air around him. The kind of presence forged in years of moving unseen, of removing obstacles with precision and vanishing before the dust settled. He didn't need to brag. His record spoke for him. And when they placed the offer before him, when they painted you as the obstacle to be erased, something shifted in his expression. Not fear, not hesitation, something deeper. Recognition. Because killers know killers, even if the weapons are different. He saw the same hunger in your eyes that he'd seen in his own reflection. The hunger not for destruction, but for survival. The hunger to keep moving forward, no matter who tried to hold you back. And maybe, in that moment, he realized the truth. The price on your head was an insult to what you had already endured. It wasn't gold enough to match the cost of your battle. And here's what you must never forget. The bounty didn't define you. The price didn't define you. Their fear didn't define you. What defines you is the fact that you kept moving when the ground cracked beneath your feet, that you stood tall when the world pointed every weapon it had in your direction, that you faced the silence of empty rooms, the loneliness of endless nights, and the crushing weight of doubt, and still found a reason to rise. This is who you are now. Not just a survivor, not just someone who escaped. You are the echo of every attempt that failed. You are the reminder that some stories can't be rewritten by money or fear. You are the living proof that when the world decides you should be gone, you can decide otherwise. And that decision is final. So the next time they whisper your name, the next time they think gold will buy them the ending they crave, remember the laugh. Remember the sound of the one they trusted most, choosing to walk away. Remember that you are more than their fear, more than their price, more than their story. You are your own storm now. And storms don't ask permission to exist. And so, warrior, here you stand. The bounty faded. The whispers turned to silence. The shadows keep their distance now. They will still watch you, still wait for the day you trip, but they will remember the laugh that shattered their plans, the steps that never faltered. You are the storm they couldn't buy, the fire they couldn't cage. And from this moment on, every sunrise you greet is a victory. Every breath you take is another nail in the coffin of their doubts. So let them come again. Let them raise the price. Let them send their finest. Because the truth is carved in stone now. Some names cannot be erased. And yours, warrior, is one of them.